Thank you very much, and it's wonderful to be here in Jerusalem, the heart of Israel. As I'm a British member of the European Parliament, I really want to split my speech into two. I'm firstly going to talk about the European Union and how laws are actually made within the EU, and then I'm going to talk about my own country and how I believe that laws are not being enforced, and they're not being enforced because they're being sacrificed on the altar of political correctness and indeed multiculturalism. I come from Britain, the nation of Magna Carta, signed 800 years ago, which set us on the road by which people were protected under the law. From that point, we've since had a Bill of Rights and successive Reform Acts, which have ensured that those who made the law were accountable to the people. Well, unfortunately, that is no longer the case in Britain. Over half our laws are no longer made in London, in Westminster, by our elected representatives. Half the laws are made in Brussels, and they're not made by members of the European Parliament who are directly elected. They begin in the European Commission, made up of 28 European commissioners. None of them are elected. None of them are accountable to the people. And in that commission, they meet in secret with 3,000 working groups who advise them on the legislation and how it should be put together. They don't tell us who sit on these working groups, but we know who it is. It's the corporates, it's the multinationals. Hence why there are more lobbyists in Brussels today than there are in Washington, DC. Now, I put it to you that if law is made in this fashion, if it is made behind closed doors, if it is made by those who are unelected, and then handed down to the European Parliament simply to amend, I believe this is an affront to democracy. In fact, it's not just undemocratic, it's very much un-British. In Britain, the people who make the laws are those we have elected at Westminster. Those laws are then passed up to an unelected chamber, the House of Lords, to amend. This is the juxtaposed position to Brussels, where the laws begin and are made by the unelected and unaccountable and handed down to the elected to amend. I fear that many of the hard-won victories that my country secured in the 20th century have been given away in the 21st, and I look back at those who died on the battlefields of Flanders, those who risked their lives above southern England during the Battle of Britain, who went up to fight for democracy and sovereignty and freedom. How would they feel to know now that half the laws of my country are now made in a foreign city by unelected, faceless bureaucrats? I believe they would turn in their grave. You would not accept it here in Israel. You would not accept it in the United States. And it should not be accepted in Britain. I now want to turn to a thorny issue, one that the vast majority of politicians in Britain will not speak about. They would prefer that it didn't exist. We have a parallel legal system in Britain. It is called Sharia law. In my country, tolerance has led to intolerance. We turn a blind eye to practices we would never condone. There are 85 Sharia courts in Britain today, where the word of a woman is only worth half that of a man, where a man can simply divorce a woman by saying, "I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you," on 3 occasions. A recent poll in the West Midlands showed that 2/3 of women from Muslim backgrounds have said that their husband has more than one wife. Polygamy is condoned, whereas bigamy is illegal under British law. On some occasions, women are returned to violent households. This is an affront, ladies and gentlemen, to the rule of law. There is one law, and everybody, no matter what culture you come from, no matter what religion you practice, should all sign up to one law. There are 170,000 girls walking around in Britain today who have been female genitally mutilated. This has been illegal for over 20 years, yet there has not been one single prosecution. We have a situation where there is an estimated 8,000 forced marriages every single year. Are we cutting this out? Are we ensuring that young ladies are not forced into these marriages against their will? No. Once again, the British legal system turns a blind eye. Now, finally, I'm going to deal with an extremely delicate issue. For the past 15 years in the UK, we have had successive grooming scandals whereby young girls have been groomed, raped, molested, given drink and drugs by predominantly men of Pakistani origin in cities like Oxford, Derby, Sheffield and Manchester, yet the authorities have turned a blind eye and let this happen. The worst example is a place called Rotherham, where 1,400 girls have been put in awful circumstances, as I said, raped, molested, fed with drink, fed with drugs, girls as young as 11 years of age by men of Pakistani origin, yet local politicians, social services and the police did nothing. They refused to enforce the law because they were worried about community cohesion. We must never turn a blind eye to scandals like this. The law must be enforced. We must protect young women in our country. Politicians must not turn a blind eye to wrongdoing. We must be brave. We must stand up. We must be counted. We must not be afraid of being accused of being an Islamophobe or a racist or a xenophobe. The law is the law, and it doesn't matter, as I said, what religion you practice, what culture you're from. When in Rome, act like the Romans. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finish by saying this. We are the country of Magna Carta, but unfortunately we have lost our way. We've lost our way because we've handed over too much power to the European Union, where laws are made in secret behind closed doors. We in my party are committed to taking our sovereignty back and ensuring that the people who make the laws in our country are the people we elect in London. Equally, at the same time, we in my party are going to stand up for normal, hard-working British people and ensure that we have one land, one law, and everybody abides by it. Thank you very much.